The shocking betrayal. Welcome to Heartfire Obsession. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The message that changed everything. The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor, and Elena's world shattered with it. She stood frozen in the bridal suite of the Grand Hotel, her wedding dress halfway zipped, staring at the screen of her phone. The message was from an unknown number, but the photo attached was crystal clear. Her fiancé Marcus, in yesterday's clothes, walking out of her sister's apartment building at dawn. Not just walking, smiling. That same smile he'd given Elena when he proposed 6 months ago on the beach in Santorini. That same smile she'd fallen in love with 3 years before when he'd rescued her presentation at work, staying up all night to help her meet the deadline. That smile now belonged to someone else. Her maid of honor, Jasmine, rushed over. "Elena? What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." Elena couldn't speak. She thrust the phone toward Jasmine, whose face went pale as she scrolled through the messages. There were more photos, many more. Marcus and Valerie at a restaurant 2 weeks ago. Marcus and Valerie holding hands in Central Park. Marcus and Valerie kissing outside a movie theater while Elena had been in Boston visiting her dying grandmother. "That son of a..." Jasmine started, but Elena held up her hand. "How long?" Elena whispered. "How long has everyone known?" The silence that followed told her everything. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. "Elena, we weren't sure. We thought maybe it was just... Valerie said they were just friends that Marcus was helping her with." "Don't." Elena's voice was ice. "Don't you dare defend them." The sister she thought she knew. Valerie had always been the golden child. Younger by 3 years. Prettier by everyone's estimation. More charming. More everything. Their mother had doted on her, excused her selfishness as free spirit, forgiven her lies as creative interpretation. Elena had spent her whole life being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who cleaned up Valerie's messes. But this was beyond a mess. Elena remembered now, with sickening clarity, all the times Valerie had volunteered to help with wedding planning. "Let me pick up the cake samples," she'd offered. "I'll meet with the florist," she'd insisted. "Marcus and I can handle the venue walkthrough," she'd said with that sweet smile. And Elena, trusting, naive Elena, had been grateful. The door burst open. Elena's mother swept in, all nervous energy and expensive perfume. "Darling, the photographer is asking about the first look photos. Should we tell him 15 minutes or..." She stopped, seeing Elena's face. "What happened?" Elena held up the phone. Her mother took it with trembling hands, and for once in her life, Elena saw genuine shock cross her face. "Oh my God. Where is she?" Elena asked quietly. Too quietly. "Who?" "Valerie. Where is my sister?" Her mother's eyes darted away. She called this morning. Said she wasn't feeling well. She wasn't going to make it to the wedding." Elena laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Of course she's not. She's probably with him right now, the calm before the storm." 200 guests sat in the chapel downstairs. The string quartet was warming up. The flowers, white roses and peonies, Valerie had insisted, not the lilacs Elena wanted, filled every corner with their cloying scent. Marcus stood at the altar in his custom tuxedo, checking his watch, probably wondering why his bride was late. Elena looked at herself in the mirror. The dress had cost $15,000. Her mother had insisted on Vera Wang, even though Elena had loved a simpler gown from a local designer. "You only get married once," her mother had said. "It has to be perfect." Perfect. Nothing about this day was perfect. Nothing about her life was perfect anymore. Jasmine touched her shoulder. "Elena, what do you want to do? We can cancel. We can tell everyone there's an emergency. We can..." "No." Elena's voice was steady now, her mind crystallizing around a single thought. "We're not canceling anything. But I'm going down there. I'm walking down that aisle." Elena turned to face her friend, and something in her expression made Jasmine step back. And then I'm going to make sure Marcus and Valerie never forget this day for the rest of their miserable lives. The Walk of Reckoning. The doors opened to Pachelbel's cannon. Elena's father took her arm, whispering, "You look beautiful, sweetheart." He didn't know. None of them knew what was about to happen. Elena walked slowly, deliberately, meeting the eyes of every guest. Her mother's friends from the country club, Marcus's colleagues from the law firm, her grandmother who'd fought cancer to make it here. They all smiled, some wiping tears, thinking this was joy on her face. It wasn't joy, it was fury, cold and calculated and perfect. Marcus turned, seeing her for the first time. His smile faltered for just a second. Did he know? Did he suspect? But then recovered. He reached for her hand as she climbed the 3 steps to the altar. "You look incredible," he whispered. "Thank you," she said softly. "So did you. Yesterday morning. Leaving my sister's apartment." The color drained from his face. The officiant, sensing something wrong, hesitated before beginning the ceremony. The chapel fell silent, 200 people holding their breath. Elena turned to face the crowd, still holding Marcus's hand in a grip like steel. She pulled her phone from where she'd tucked it in her bouquet. "Before we begin," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the chapel, "I think there's something everyone should see." Marcus grabbed for the phone, but she was faster. She tossed it to Jasmine, who was already connecting it to the chapel's projection system. They'd planned to show a photo montage at the reception. The first photo appeared on the screen behind the altar, 10 feet tall. Marcus and Valerie, tangled together, leaving her apartment at dawn. Someone gasped. Then, another. Then the whispers started, building like a wave. "Elena, wait," Marcus started. But she wasn't finished. "My sister couldn't make it today," Elena announced, her voice unwavering. "She texted this morning, said she wasn't feeling well. Would anyone like to guess why?" The second photo appeared. Marcus and Valerie kissing. The third, the fourth, each one more damning than the last. Elena's mother stood up, her face white. "Elena, stop this right now." "Why?" Elena turned to her. "So, we can keep pretending? So we can protect Valerie one more time? So we can sweep this under the rug like everything else she's ever done?" She faced Marcus again, who stood frozen, his perfect life crumbling around him. "I loved you. I trusted you. I would have given you everything." "Elena, please," he whispered. "Let me explain. There's nothing to explain." She slipped the engagement ring from her finger, 3 carats, princess cut, exactly what Valerie had told him to buy, and pressed it into his palm. "You and my sister deserve each other." She walked down the aisle, her $15,000 dress trailing behind her, leaving 200 shocked guests and 1 devastated groom in her wake. But Elena wasn't devastated. Not anymore. She was just getting started. The phone call that started the fire. Outside, Jasmine caught up with her, breathing hard. "Elena, that was not enough," Alana said, pulling out her phone with steady hands. She dialed a number she'd sworn she'd never call again. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was smooth, confident, dangerous. "Dante," Alana said, "remember what you said at your brother's funeral? That if I ever needed anything, you'd be there?" A pause. "I remember. I need your help." Elena's reflection stared back at her from the hotel's glass doors. She looked different now. Harder. Changed. "I need to destroy someone." 2 someones, actually. "Who?" Elena smiled. And it wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of a woman who'd spent her whole life being good, being forgiving, being the bigger person. That woman was gone. The man I almost married. "And my sister." Dante's laugh was low and appreciative. "When do we start?" Heartbreak and revenge, the alliance she never expected. Dante Romano was the last person Elena should have called. He was dangerous, connected, and had made his fortune in ways that didn't bear too much scrutiny. But 3 years ago, when his younger brother had died, Elena had been the only person from their old neighborhood who'd shown up at the funeral. She'd brought food, sat with his mother, helped with arrangements, never judging, never asking questions. "You're too good for this world," Dante had told her then. "But if that ever changes, if you ever need someone who understands how dark it can get, call me." Now, sitting in the back of his black Mercedes, still wearing her wedding dress, Elena understood exactly how dark the world could be. "Talk to me," Dante said, pouring her a glass of whiskey from the car's bar. "Tell me everything." So she did. Every betrayal, every lie, every moment Valerie had stolen from her. Marcus's law firm, where he'd just made partner. Valerie's struggling design business that Marcus had been secretly funding. The apartment they'd just bought together in Elena's name, using her credit, her down payment. "They used you," Dante said quietly. "I let them." Elena took a long drink. "I was so desperate to believe in love, in family, that I ignored every red flag. That's not weakness. That's being human." He studied her with those dark, intelligent eyes. "But now you want blood. Now I want justice. Justice is clean. Legal. Boring." Dante leaned forward. "What you want is revenge. And revenge, Elena, is an art form. The first move, following the money." Elena had been so focused on her heartbreak that she'd almost missed the real crime. But Dante's people, quiet, efficient, terrifyingly thorough, uncovered it within 48 hours. Marcus hadn't just been cheating, he'd been stealing. As Elena's fiancé, he'd had access to her accounts, her business, her entire financial life. She'd trusted him to help manage the boutique marketing firm she'd built from nothing. He'd convinced her to make him a signatory just in case of emergencies. Over the past 6 months, he'd transferred nearly $200,000 into an offshore account. Money that was funding his and Valerie's new beginning. They were going to leave, Dante explained, spreading documents across his dining room table. "After the wedding, after you'd signed the prenup that made him co-owner of your business. They had plane tickets to the Cayman Islands. A house already rented." Elena stared at the papers, her hands trembling. "I would have had nothing. Less than nothing. He'd positioned it so you'd be liable for debts to his firm. You would have spent years rebuilding while they lived off your money. The rage that filled her then was clean and cold. This wasn't just about a broken heart anymore. This was about survival." "What do we do?" she asked. Dante smiled. "We destroy them. Legally first. And then, if you want, we get creative." The confrontation at Valerie's door. 3 days after the wedding that never was, Elena stood outside Valerie's apartment. She'd texted ahead, "We need to talk." "I know everything." Valerie opened the door in yoga pants and one of Marcus's shirts, her hair messy, her face defiant. "Elena, I know you're upset." "Upset?" Elena pushed past her into the apartment. It was paid for with Elena's money. She saw that now, saw her own furniture, her own artwork on the walls. "Upset is finding out your coffee order is wrong. This is betrayal. You don't understand." Valerie started, but Elena held up her hand. "I understand perfectly. You wanted what I had. You've always wanted what I had. When we were kids, it was my toys, my friends, my clothes. As adults, it was my career, my reputation, my fiancé. I didn't plan this." Valerie's voice rose. "It just happened. Marcus and I, we connected. What you two had, it wasn't real. He told me. He told you what you wanted to hear." Elena's voice was ice, the same way he told me what I wanted to hear. "That's what narcissists do, Valerie. They find your weakness and exploit it." "Don't call him that. You don't know him like I do." Elena almost laughed. "You're right. I didn't know him. But I'm learning. Did you know he's been stealing from me? Did you know the apartment you're standing in is mortgaged in my name? Did you know the business he claimed he was building for you is actually a shell company designed to hide embezzled funds?" Valerie's face went pale. "That's not true. He wouldn't. Where is he, Valerie?" "He's out. Handling some work stuff. He's running." Elena pulled out her phone, showing her sister the bank statements, the transfers, the offshore accounts. "He knows I've discovered everything. He's liquidating assets right now, getting ready to disappear. And when he does, you know who he's leaving behind? Valerie sank onto the couch, her hands shaking. No, no. He loves me. He loves your naivety. He loves having someone who makes him feel powerful. Elena crouched in front of her sister, and for a moment, she felt something like pity. Valerie, we've never gotten along, but we're family. And I won't let him destroy you too. What do you want from me? I want you to help me stop him. Before he ruins both our lives. The trap set in motion. Marcus returned to Valerie's apartment 2 hours later, carrying takeout and flowers, wearing the satisfied smile of a man who thought he'd gotten away with everything. He froze when he saw Elena sitting on the couch, Valerie beside her, both of them silent. Elena, I can explain, he started. No need. Elena stood, and Dante emerged from the bedroom, followed by 2 men in dark suits. Marcus Hewitt, these gentlemen are from the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. They'd like to ask you some questions about wire fraud, embezzlement, and identity theft. The color drained from Marcus's face. You can't prove anything. Actually, said the older agent, stepping forward, we can. Your fiancé provided us with extensive documentation. Account records, signed transfers, emails detailing your scheme. We've been building a case against you for months regarding other victims. Miss Castellano's evidence ties it all together. Marcus looked at Valerie, betrayal flashing across his face. You told her? She didn't have to, Elena said. I hired someone to follow you the moment I got suspicious. Every meeting, every transfer, every lie, it's all documented. This is entrapment, no, Dante said coldly. This is consequence. As the agents handcuffed Marcus and read him his rights, he looked at Elena with pure hatred. You stupid bitch. You think you've won? I'll come back from this. I'll make your life hell. Elena stepped closer, her voice low enough that only he could hear. You already made my life hell. The difference is, I got out. You never will. The sister's choice. After Marcus was taken away, Elena and Valerie sat in silence. The apartment felt hollow now, stripped of illusions. I'm sorry, Valerie whispered finally. For everything. For my whole life. Sorry doesn't fix this, I know. Valerie's tears were real this time, not manipulative, not performative. I've been jealous of you since we were kids. You were always smarter, more capable. Mom loved me, but she respected you. I wanted that. And when Marcus paid attention to me, made me feel special, I told myself I deserved it. You did deserve it, Elena said quietly. You deserved someone who loved you, not someone who used you to get to me. What happens now? Elena stood, gathering her things. Now you decide who you want to be. The victim or the villain. Because I'm done playing either role. Elena, wait. Valerie grabbed her hand. Can we ever... is there any chance we could be sisters again? Elena pulled her hand away gently. I don't know. You destroyed my trust. That takes more than an apology to rebuild. But it's possible? Elena looked at her sister, really looked at her, seeing for perhaps the first time not a rival but a broken young woman who'd sabotaged her own happiness. Maybe, she said finally. But not today. Today I need to remember how to be whole on my own. The unexpected feeling. Outside, Dante waited by his car. Everything okay? No, Elena said honestly, but it will be. He studied her face. You showed her mercy. Most people wouldn't have. Most people aren't me. She paused. Thank you for everything. I know this wasn't exactly in your wheelhouse. Actually, Dante said with a slight smile, I specialize in impossible situations. And impossible women. Something in his tone made Elena look at him differently. She'd always seen Dante as dangerous, untouchable, a weapon to be aimed at her enemies. But standing there in the fading light, she saw something else. Someone who'd shown up when she needed him, who'd believed her without question, who'd treated her like an equal. Why did you help me? She asked. Really? Dante was quiet for a long moment. 3 years ago, you showed up at my brother's funeral. Everyone else from the old neighborhood crossed the street when they saw us coming. But you brought food. You sat with my mother. You treated us like we were human. You are human. Most people don't see it that way. He opened the car door for her. You're different, Elena. You see people. Really see them. That's rare. As he drove her home, Elena felt something shift inside her. The anger was still there, but beneath it, something new was growing. Not love. It was too soon for that, too raw. But possibility. The possibility that maybe destruction could lead to creation. That maybe the ashes of her old life could nourish something new. But first, there was one more person who needed to answer for their crimes. Her mother. The final betrayal revealed. Elena's childhood home looked the same as always. Perfectly manicured lawn, expensive cars in the driveway, the appearance of success and normalcy. But Elena knew now that appearances could be the deadliest lies. Her mother opened the door, surprised. Elena, I've been calling you. I wanted to apologize for Valerie. I had no idea. Don't. Elena pushed past her into the house. Don't pretend you didn't know. Excuse me? Marcus's lawyer talked. Elena turned to face her mother. In exchange for a lighter sentence, he provided evidence about all of Marcus's accomplices. And guess whose name came up? Her mother's face went still. I don't know what you're talking about. You introduced them. Elena's voice shook with controlled fury. You invited Marcus to that dinner party where he met Valerie. You encouraged their friendship. You suggested I add him to my bank accounts. You pushed for the prenup that would have made him co-owner of my business. I was trying to help. You were trying to pay off your gambling debts. Elena pulled out the documents Dante had obtained. You owe $200,000 to various casinos. Marcus agreed to help you if you helped him get access to my money. Her mother sank into a chair, her perfect composure cracking. You don't understand the pressure I was under. Your father's life insurance was gone. The house needed work. I didn't know what else to do. So you sold out your daughter? I thought you'd never find out. I thought after the wedding, after everything was settled, I could pay back the debts and no one would be hurt. Except me. Elena's voice broke. I was the sacrifice. Your own daughter. Elena, please. Which one? Elena asked coldly. Which daughter did you sacrifice? Because you destroyed both of us. You taught Valerie that stealing from me was acceptable. You taught me that trust was for fools. Her mother started crying, but Elena felt nothing. The woman before her was a stranger, had perhaps always been a stranger. I want you to know something, Elena said quietly. I'm not pressing charges. Not because you deserve mercy, but because I'm done letting you have power over my life. You'll live with what you've done. That's punishment enough. She walked toward the door, then stopped. One more thing. Valerie is trying to change. She asked for forgiveness. So I'm giving her a chance. But you? I'm done. Don't call. Don't write. Don't come to my home. We're finished. You can't mean that. I'm your mother. No, Elena said. You're the woman who gave birth to me. A mother protects her children. You fed me to wolves. She left her mother sobbing in that perfect house, and she didn't look back. The beginning of something new. Dante was waiting outside, leaning against his car. How do you feel? Empty, Elena admitted. But clean. That's how it starts. The healing. He opened the door for her. Where to? Elena thought about her destroyed wedding, her stolen money, her fractured family. She thought about the woman she'd been 3 days ago, naive and trusting and desperate to believe in fairy tales. That woman was gone. But maybe, in her place, someone stronger could emerge. I want to see my business, she said. I want to assess the damage. And then, I want to rebuild everything they tried to take from me. Alone? Dante asked, something hopeful in his eyes. Elena looked at him, really looked at him, and made a decision that would have terrified her old self. No. I think I'm done doing things alone. His smile was slow and genuine. Good, because I'm not going anywhere. As they drove through the city toward her office, Elena felt something she hadn't felt since finding that photo on her phone. Hope. Marcus would go to prison. Valerie would have to rebuild her life. Her mother would live with guilt. And Elena? Elena was just getting started. The ultimate payback. 3 months later, the phoenix rises. The coffee shop on Fifth Avenue was Elena's favorite place to work. Not her office. That space still held too many memories of Marcus's betrayal, but this small, sunlit corner where nobody knew her story. Except today, someone did. Elena Castellano? A young woman approached her table, tablet in hand, eyes wide with recognition. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had to thank you." Elena looked up from her laptop, confused. "Thank me for what?" "For exposing Marcus Hewitt." The woman's voice trembled. "He scammed my mother 2 years ago, took her entire retirement fund with the same fake investment scheme. She was too ashamed to report it. But when your case went public, she finally came forward. Because of you, she's getting her money back." The woman wasn't alone. Over the past 3 months, 17 other victims had emerged. Marcus's fraud wasn't just about Elena. It was systemic, calculated, stretching back nearly 5 years. He'd used his law firm credentials to prey on vulnerable people, especially women, especially those who trusted too easily, just like Elena had. "I'm glad she's getting justice," Elena said softly. "We all are. You're a hero." After the woman left, Elena stared at her reflection in the window. A hero. She didn't feel like one. She felt like a survivor, which was different. Heroes saved people. Survivors just refused to die. Her phone buzzed. A text from Dante? "Dinner tonight? I have news." Elena smiled. Dante had become an unexpected constant in her life. Not a boyfriend, she wasn't ready for that, but something more complex. A partner. An ally. Someone who understood that healing wasn't linear, that some days she was strong and some days she could barely get out of bed. He never pushed, never demanded, just showed up. "Yes," she texted back. 7 p.m.? I'll pick you up. Wear something nice, the unexpected visitor. Elena was closing her laptop when Valerie walked into the coffee shop. They hadn't spoken since that day in the apartment. Elena had kept her distance, needing space to process everything. But Valerie looked different now. Thinner, tired, but somehow more present. Like she'd stopped performing and started existing. "Can I sit?" Valerie asked quietly. Elena gestured to the empty chair. They sat in silence for a moment, 2 sisters separated by years of damage. "I got a job," Valerie said finally. "Nothing glamorous, receptionist at a dentist's office. But it's honest work, my own money, that's good. I'm also in therapy. Twice a week." Valerie twisted her coffee cup. "The therapist says I have a pattern of self-sabotage, that I destroy good things because I don't feel worthy of them. And what do you think?" Valerie met her eyes. "I think she's right. I think I've spent my whole life competing with you because I was afraid that if I wasn't better than you, I wasn't anything at all." Elena felt something crack inside her chest. Not breaking, mending. Slowly, painfully, but mending. "I'm not your enemy, Valerie," she said softly. "I never was. I know that now." Valerie's eyes filled with tears. "I destroyed the one person who would have always been on my side. And I don't know how to fix it." "You can't fix it. Not completely. Some things, once broken, never go back to how they were." Elena reached across the table, taking her sister's hand. "But maybe we can build something new, something better. You'd be willing to try?" "I'm not sure. But I'm willing to see." Elena squeezed her hand. "Show me you've changed. Not with words, with actions. With time." Valerie nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I will. I promise." After she left, Elena sat for a long time, watching people pass on the street. A mother with a stroller, a couple holding hands, an old man feeding pigeons. All of them carrying their own stories, their own scars. She wasn't special. She was just another person learning how to survive. But maybe that was enough. The dinner that changed everything. Dante picked her up at 7 sharp, dressed in a dark suit that made him look like he'd stepped out of a crime thriller, which, Elena supposed, wasn't far from the truth. "Where are we going?" she asked. "You'll see." He drove them to a renovated warehouse district, stopping in front of a building with floor-to-ceiling windows. Through them, Elena could see exposed brick, modern fixtures, and what looked like design studios. "What is this?" she asked. "Your new office." Dante handed her a key. "I know you've been working from coffee shops because the old office has bad memories, so I thought maybe a fresh start would help." Elena stared at the key, overwhelmed. "Dante, I can't accept this. It's too much. It's not a gift. It's an investment." He led her inside, where the space opened up into something magnificent. "I want to partner with you. My security firm needs someone who understands marketing, branding, making dangerous people look legitimate. Your firm needs contracts, stability. We help each other." Elena walked through the space, touching the clean surfaces, imagining her team here. Away from Marcus's shadow, away from the past. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. Dante was quiet for a moment. "Because 3 years ago, you showed up at my brother's funeral and treated me like I was human. And 3 months ago, when your world fell apart, you didn't fall apart with it. You fought back. And I've never met anyone like you. I'm not special. You are." He stepped closer. "You're brilliant, resilient, and you see the best in people even after they've shown you their worst. That's rare. That's valuable." Elena felt her carefully constructed walls trembling. "I'm not ready for a relationship. I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for a partnership. Business first. Everything else can wait until you're ready." He smiled. "Even if that's never. What if I'm too damaged? Then you'll fit right in with me." Dante's expression was serious now. "Elena, I've done things I'm not proud of. I've hurt people. I've made choices that keep me up at night. But with you, I want to be better. You make me want to be better." Elena felt tears on her cheeks. Not sad tears. Not happy tears. Just feeling tears. The kind that came when walls finally crumbled and you realized you didn't need them anymore. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, let's be partners. Let's build something together." She looked around the space. "Let's turn all this pain into something good." Dante pulled her into a hug, and for the first time in months, Elena let herself lean into someone. Let herself trust. Let herself hope. "There's one more thing," he said against her hair. "Marcus's trial date is set, 2 weeks from now. Are you ready?" The courtroom where truths emerge. The courtroom was packed. Elena sat in the front row, flanked by Dante and Jasmine. Behind her, 17 other victims filled the benches. Marcus's mother was there too, crying quietly. His father looked ashen. Marcus walked in wearing an orange jumpsuit, looking nothing like the confident lawyer who'd proposed on a beach. He looked small, diminished, human in the worst way. When his eyes met Elena's, she didn't look away. She held his gaze until he broke first, turning to whisper urgently to his lawyer. The prosecutor called Elena to testify. She walked to the stand with her head high, placed her hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. And then she told it all. The theft, the manipulation, the way he'd systematically destroyed her trust while planning to destroy her life. She didn't cry, didn't rage, just stated facts in a clear, calm voice. When the prosecutor asked, "Did you love him?" Elena paused. "I loved the person I thought he was," she said finally. "But that person never existed. He was always a fraud. I just didn't want to see it." Marcus's lawyer tried to paint her as vengeful, as a scorned woman exaggerating the truth. But the evidence was overwhelming. Bank records, emails, testimony from other victims, the offshore accounts, the plane tickets to the Cayman Islands found in his desk. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts, Marcus would spend the next 15 years in prison. The meeting nobody expected. After the verdict, Elena stepped outside for air. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters, but she pushed through them, needing space, needing silence. A woman was waiting at the bottom of the steps. She was older, elegant, with Marcus's eyes. His mother. "Mrs. Hewitt," Alana said carefully. I wanted to apologize. The woman's voice was thick with emotion. I raised him. I taught him right from wrong, and somehow I failed. You didn't fail. He made his choices, but I saw signs. When he was younger, he'd lie about little things. He'd take money from my purse. I always made excuses. Boys will be boys. He's ambitious. I enabled him. She dabbed at her eyes. You didn't deserve what he did to you. None of those women did. Elena felt an unexpected surge of compassion. "Mrs. Hewitt, you're not responsible for his actions. He is. Maybe. But I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if I could have changed things. If I'd been stricter, more attentive, he would have found another way." Elena touched the woman's arm gently. Some people are broken, and sometimes no amount of love can fix them. They stood together in the cooling afternoon, two women damaged by the same man in different ways. "What will you do now?" Mrs. Hewitt asked. Elena looked up at the sky, clear and blue and infinite. "I'm going to live. Really live. Not just survive." 6 months later, the transformation complete. Elena's new office was thriving. She'd merged her marketing firm with Dante's security company, creating something unique, a consultancy that helped businesses protect themselves from fraud while building authentic brands. It was ironic, she supposed, that Marcus's betrayal had led her to this. To work that actually mattered. To clients who trusted her because she understood the cost of broken trust. Valerie had kept her promise. She came to family therapy with Elena once a month. Sometimes their mother tried to join them. Elena always said no. Some bridges, once burned, stayed burned. But Valerie was different. Slowly,